So, I've talked about this a little bit, but I want to talk about it again because I love repeating myself over and over again on my show. But I've got an article here that talks a little bit about the FDA wants to change what qualifies as healthy food. An RD explains what that means for you. So this is just a quick article. Joe Biden has been actually moving to try to fix the American diet. Fun fact, 95% of Americans don't eat fruits or vegetables on a daily basis. 95%? 95%. Now again, in cartoons and stuff, we often have this thing where like, oh, kids don't want to eat vegetables. Oh, but they need to. The kids, the airplane, woo! 95% of adults in the United States are dumber than children, or as dumb as children when it comes to their diet. 93% of Americans are metabolically dysfunctional. They got a fucked up metabolism. Now, a lot of people, to them, the way metabolism is treated in like a layman kind of generic kind of way is like as if like it's some ethereal, like, oh, I got a slow like it's like a genetic thing, like you're born with a slow metabolism or a, like, and no one really knows what that means. But it's not like, I mean, you can have genetic predispositions for anything, but 93% of the country having a fucked up metabolism. Why? It's the food, dummy. It's the food. So anyway, here's a quick article about the subject. Did you know that the US FDA hasn't changed its rules about which foods can be declared as healthy on packaging labels since 1994? That basically means the current regulatory definition of what constitutes a healthy ingredient or food product does not reflect the nearly 30 years worth of advancements in health and nutritional science. But it seems like the FDA's healthy criteria are about to receive a long overdue makeover. If you go to the grocery store, you can see foods, healthy choice, healthy, 12 grams of added sugar in the form of high fructose corn syrup. But it's healthy. Say so on the box. The agency recently announced a plan to propose to quote, to update the definition for the implied nutrient content claim healthy to be consistent with current nutritional science and federal dietary guidance, which includes the latest dietary guidelines for Americans 2020 to 25, as well as the updated nutritional facts label. This new categorization aims to focus more on the value of eating certain food groups rather than trying to obtain individual nutrients, an approach that Don Jackson Blattner, RDN, registered dietitian and now wellness expert, is excited about. Quote, this is an amazing step forward. This new definition would focus on actual food groups, which is exactly what healthcare professionals tell people to focus on for overall health. These days, we know good nutrition does not come from intake of individual nutrients, but rather from eating food groups that have a bunch of different nutrients in them working together. So, now my opinion is, this is a great step forward that Joe Biden and the FDA are trying to get their shit together a little bit, but also we can't sugarcoat this shit. I don't think any processed food pretty much should automatically disqualify you. If you're in the frozen food section, right, and it's not just like literally frozen vegetables, right, like, yeah, frozen peas, whatever, but if we're talking about like a TV dinner, any of that fucking shit, any meat product, frozen pizza, like any of that, it doesn't matter what's in it, right? It's bad for you. It's bad for you. The processing is what destroys the food. It removes a lot of the core nutritional value, and what little is left, it doesn't even really get absorbed by your body properly because of what's been done to it. Right, so I'm just throwing that out there. Under the proposed rules, Blattner explains, a food product must meet the following criteria to be eligible to wear the label of healthy. 1, it must contain a meaningful amount of food from at least one food group recommended by current dietary guidelines, e.g. vegetables, dairy, whole grains. Like, but what does that mean, one meaningful amount? To be healthy? Like, does it have to have, like, one dollop of, like, fucking ricotta cheese and now it's healthy? Because I don't really agree with that. It must contain a limited amount of saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar. What does a limited amount mean? Blattner also adds that the new label would no longer account for total fat and start including added sugars. Now that's an important one. This is a great shift, since we now know it isn't about eating low fat, but about eating the right types of fat, she says, and keeping added sugar in check is important, since 63% of us exceed the added sugar recommendations. I think like the recommended intake daily for children, someone fact check me on this, is like exceeded by like 5 times for the average child than what the daily recommended intake is. And the daily recommended intake is already too high. Like, kids don't need to be eating any added sugar. In fact, no one needs to eat any added sugar. Now you might be wondering, what is added sugar? It's not that difficult. It's added sugar. Why do you need to add sugar to things? Are you 6 years old? Like, I'm serious. Are you 6 years old? You're an adult and you can't eat food without sugar sprinkled on top of it? You're an adult. I'm sorry. It's a drug. It's that simple. Sugar should be regulated like cocaine. It should be regulated like heroin. Like, natural sugars, like when you're eating an apple, that's fine. Why do you need to sprinkle sugar on your apple? That's apple juice. That's what apple juice is. They juice the apple, get rid of the fiber, the actual good stuff, and then they add more sugar. That's called apple juice. Have you ever heard of orange juice? You juice the orange, take out all the nutrients, and then add some extra sugar. Boom, you got packaged orange juice. Why? Are you a toddler? Or are you a drug addict? Those are the only two options. A toddler or a drug addict. And that's, again, 63% of America. But I would also, again, exceed the sugar recommendations. We should have a recommendation of 0 grams of added sugar. Now, again, natural sugars is, like, if you're eating 8 fruits a day, 8 apples a day, yeah, you're probably going to gain weight. But you're going to be a lot healthier than someone who's drinking a 12-pack of fucking apple juice boxes, just because the apple itself has fiber, it has other nutrients that limit the damage of the sugar. So I don't know why added sugar is allowed in anything. You know when you go to the grocery store and you see that fucking ragu and the fucking, that stupid ass spaghetti sauce aisle? Sometimes I go through that aisle and I get triggered. You know why those name brands taste so good and why they cost extra? Literally, all they do is they take the most mediocre spaghetti sauce in the world and they add a tablespoon or 2 of sugar. That's it. That's it. That's all. They just add sugar to the spaghetti sauce. Wow. Again, are you 3 years old? What? Why does spaghetti have to have added sugar? Who the fuck needs to have sugar on their fucking pasta? As if pasta isn't already, like, that's already one hefty fucking glucose load. But you need to sprinkle sugar on your pasta? Is this a joke? No, this is America. What's behind the proposed change? The point is not to make food shopping and eating well even more complicated. Rather, the goal is to help educate and empower consumers to make recognizing and choosing nutrient-dense, good-for-you foods more straightforward. It actually is really straightforward. It's called Eat Whole Foods. It's not that difficult. Hot Pockets, no matter what kind of ingredients they add to it, they're never going to be fucking good for you. It's that simple. Anyway, you can skip that. So what foods are healthy according to the FDA? The good news is that the FDA is kind of playing catch up here, so this probably won't turn our basic understanding of healthy, balanced eating upside down, and is certainly not promoting any fad diets or new list of trendy, expensive, hard-to-pronounce superfoods. I don't even know what that means. Hard-to-pronounce superfoods? Broccoli? Ooh, so difficult to pronounce. What is this hard-to-pronounce superfood that people are talking about? Carrots? Whoa. Man, I'm exhausted just from pronouncing that word. I'm shocked only 63% exceed the recommended added sugar, Andrew Kohler says. I'm not shocked, but again, reminder that the added sugar is already an extremely overblown and high amount to begin with. Like, it should be 0. It should be fucking 0. Right? So anything over 0 is excess, in my opinion. It's added sugar. That's the thing. It's added sugar. The idea that there you can have a proper intake of added sugar. It's added, aka unnecessary, aka you don't fucking need it. Under the proposed definition, raw whole foods, fruits and vegetables would automatically qualify to be healthy claim because of their nutrient profile and positive contribution to an overall healthy diet. Often recommended foods like nuts, seeds, eggs, fatty fish like salmon, anchovies, and albacore tuna. Albacore? I mean, we're talking about no hard to pronounce superfoods. What the hell is albacore? Olive oil, low sugar yogurt. What is low sugar yogurt? How about no sugar yogurt? What the fuck is low sugar yogurt? Why do you need to add sugar to yogurt? What the fuck is wrong with you? If you don't like eating something without sugar, then, I don't know. It sounds like you have a drug addiction. Have you ever met someone that's like, you know how like when you get really high on weed, you get the munchies, right? This is like some people who claim to be ex-weed addicts or current weed addicts. They tell me this. And, you know, I understand it maybe. But some people are like, oh, well, I can't eat food unless I'm high. This is like, you know, I've heard this before. People that know a lot of people that smoke weed may have heard this before, right? You know what that's called? That's called a drug addiction. You have a very unhealthy, habitual relationship with a substance and an action such as eating. That's a drug addiction. If you can't eat food without sprinkling sugar all over it, that's a drug addiction. If you can't eat food without a factory sprinkling the sugar in it, that's a drug addiction. That's a drug addiction. I don't know what to tell you. You don't need to add sugar to things. I'm just saying. It's never necessary. It's never necessary to add sugar. I just don't understand. I just can't fathom this stuff. I really don't. The new proposed definition would reinforce solid nutritional advice we're already getting, that vegetables, fruits, whole grains, seafood, eggs, beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, low-fat dairy products, lean meats, and poultry, when prepared with little or no added sugars. Why would you prepare chicken with added sugar? Who is making a steak and was like, you know what we can put on this steak? Someone go get the sugar bowl. Like, anyway, but again, most Americans, I'm telling you, most Americans do that shit. I'm telling you this. So anyway, the FDA is actually trying to do some good stuff. I will tell you this much. Unless we have in this country a mass education program that is so culturally significant that it reaches every person in the country in some way, shape, or form, unless that happens, we are fucked. We are fucked. I need you to understand, because we don't learn this in school. We don't learn this in school. Schools aren't preparing anyone. Not 30 years ago, not 40 years ago, not now. The best thing we get in schools are like a food pyramid that's fucking disinformation, a plate theory that doesn't even really fucking, you know, we get the, not even like, it's just the most basic bitch shit in the world in schools, right? So what we need in this country, in order to fix the American diet, is we need an education campaign that is so prevalent and so well done that it affects every person, or such a large amount of people that anyone else who doesn't hear about the direct education campaign is going to hear about it from someone else talking about it. That's it. Because as it stands, Americans, when it comes to food, are really fucking stupid ass dumb motherfuckers. I'm just telling you how it is. If you can't eat broccoli without putting sugar on it, you're a fucking idiot. If you can't eat pizza without putting sugar on it, you're a fucking idiot. If you can't eat spaghetti without putting sugar on it, you're a fucking moron. It's that simple. And when you're buying this pre-made pasta sauce that has added sugar, that's exactly what you're doing. You're eating spaghetti with sugar added. You're not doing it yourself. You're just so fucking lazy that you're outsourcing. You're paying extra money to outsource a factory adding a fucking couple tablespoons of sugar to your plate because you're too much of a fucking moron to do it yourself. Again, Americans are fucking stupid. Americans are fucking stupid. I don't know what to tell you people. Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about these people? I don't know. I really don't. Like, Americans are so stupid and fucking lazy that they don't read fucking nutritional profiles on the back of the box. They don't read the label. They don't read the ingredients. That's how fucking dumb Americans are. They just see the box and they're like, oh, this looks good! Like, I mean, if I'm shopping for a video game, when I was, like, going to Blockbuster as a kid, and I was looking at the video games at Blockbuster to rent for the weekend, I would at least read the back of the box. I'd look at the screenshots, right? But I'd read like, oh, it's got 38 levels. Oh, it's got, 100 hours of gameplay. Okay. I would read the fucking box. Adults, they don't do that with food. With food, major decisions that affect your health and body. And they don't even read the back of the box. I just like, what? What? If you're buying medicine over the counter, do you read the back of the box? If so, why don't you read the back of the box on the food you're buying? Unless the answer is I've already read the box and I know what's on it and I know what's in it, then okay. But then I'm gonna fucking quiz you on that shit, motherfucker. Anyway, ranting and raving about food again. That's the show. There you go. Bye-bye.